Hey everyone, my name is Heba and welcome back. And to all my new subscribers, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. Really do appreciate you, and I hope that you do like it here. And welcome to this family. This is such a great platform to be in. Meeting wonderful people, sharing ideas, the love of makeup, skincare. So I want to say welcome. And for all you that's been here for a while, again, thank you so much for sticking around here. I'm not the best out there, and I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Really do. So in this video, I'll be talking about SUQQU's new Autumn Winter Collection of 2023. So let's see what's so special about this collection and what's in it. According to SUQQU Official, the autumn of 2023 marks the 20th anniversary of the brand. It's called the Color Collection and inspired by, I'm gonna have to write it here for you guys, Iwa Inugu. I know I'm gonna say it wrong, so please forgive me. It's the Japanese traditional paint made from particles of pulverized rock, which has been passed down since ancient times. This extraordinary collection creates a deep expression through unmixed colors to bring out the new, fresh look for the upcoming season. So in this collection, there are two signature color eyes palette, 127, which is ruby red, blue gray, and 128, which has golden yellow and a moss gray. Two pure color blushes, 142, which is more like a rosy pink, and 143, which is more of a beigey pink. An eyeshadow primer, 3 moisture-rich lipsticks, 126, which is a classical pink, 127, a deep burgundy brown, and 128, a coral red. And something new for SUQQU this time is the liquid luster eyes. And there are 5 shades in here that are permanent and 2 limited edition shades. So what I picked up is the eyeshadow primer, had to try that, both signature color eye palettes, one of the blushes, one of the lipsticks, and one of the liquid luster, the new product here. Let's talk about the eyeshadow primer first. This is $24.50, and it does come with a kind of a flat doe foot applicator, flat on one side, thin on the other. And you can see that it's a white cream and it's quite thick. I hope you can see that, how I can mix it in there. And it does kind of dry down clear on my lids. Now what they say about this primer is that it maintains the texture, improves color saturation, and it reduces creasing. It's a non-pearly formula that keeps the original texture of either intact and helps the eyeshadow show its beauty as it is and last longer. One thing with this primer that you do need to let it dry down before you apply any shadows on your lids. So here's what it looks like dried down. Then we have the liquid luster eyes, and spoiler alert, not my favorite. Again, there are 7 shades, 5 of them are permanent and 2 limited edition shades. And I did pick up one of the limited edition shades, 101. And you can kind of see that it's more of a silvery shade. I do like the packaging with the gradient effect to it. And this one also comes with a doe foot applicator. It's more of an angled. And then here's what it looks like by itself without any primer. So you can see it's more of a silver shade, and it's not really that pigmented, I have to say. So this is swatched by itself. Let me swatch it over the primer so you can see the primer in action. Okay, so here's the liquid luster eyes over the primer, and here it is by itself. So you can see it does kind of make it a little bit brighter and more pigmented. And I don't know if it changes color, the primer does, because it does look a little, I don't know, a little grayer. But you can see without the primer, the color is just see-through. So these do contain a high viscosity oil to thicken the film to even out the skin surface and beautifully reflect light. It does create a translucent, shiny finish with a high content of glass-based pearl. So I guess it's supposed to be translucent, but I don't know, I'd rather be a little bit more opaque. But the shades that they came out with do look pretty, but yeah, I don't think I'll be picking any more of this up. Spoiler alert. Oh, and these do cost $29. So let me go ahead and show you the liquid luster in action. So you can see here, yes, I do have curly hair that day, but I went ahead and applied one side with a primer and then the other side with no primer. And I went ahead and applied that side first so I can let the primer dry down. And I used the applicator to apply it on. And you could see that with the primer, it does look a little deeper. And without the primer, it is more translucent. Now, let me show you what it looks like after an hour of wear. You can see that the one without the primer, it's kind of melted off, it's creasing. The one with the primer, it does look a little bit better, it's holding on, but it's still kind of creased. And this one's after 2 hours of wear. The side with the no primer, can't really see it that much on my lids. The one with the primer, yeah, it's creasing up and it just kind of melted off. So you can tell that the Liquid Luster Eyes, not my favorite. For the Moisture Rich lipsticks, again, they came out with 3 shades and I only picked up one, which was the deepest shade, which is 127, and it's a deep burgundy brown, which I do like this shade. Very pretty. But here is what the swatch looks like. Very comfortable on the lips, has a nice slip, and I do like this color. And these cost $37.50. Now let me show you what the Pure Color blush looks like. This is number 142, more of a Barbie pink, I would say, after trying it on. There is another one, 143, but again, I didn't pick that one up because I think that one's going to be too light. More of a beigey blush. And I believe it was the last collection with the white packaging instead of the black. The blushes in that collection just didn't show up on me. So those went to a loving home. So I was afraid that that beige one would do the same. So I only picked up one, 142. Let me swatch them separately. Let's go in with this bigger shade. So it is more of a pink. And then this middle shade, a little bit of a lighter pink. And then this shade, it's more of a highlighter. And yeah, when I first swatched it, I thought it was going to be a little bit ashy. But let me go ahead and swatch them all together. Turned out to be a very pretty, like I said, a Barbie pink. And I hope they can see it's a very pretty shade and you can see it on my skin tone. And the last thing in this collection I got are the 2 signature color eyes. And let's start with this one, 127. The one with the ruby red and the blue gray. So let me go ahead and swatch 127 first. Let me take the blush off. So here's that blue-gray shade. And let me go ahead and use this eyeshadow primer and just put it beside it here, let it dry. And I want to see the difference in shades this way. And let me put one over here too. Now let's go into this light beigey shade. So I did put that primer there, let it dry. And let me put that one over here. This one's more of a pinky beige. And then let's go into this ruby red here. Very pretty, very smoothing, has that shine to it. And then this last shade, which is kind of like a red brown. Very pretty, or kind of a pinky brown. Now let me go back into this blue-gray shade and place it over the primer. Okay, I hope you can see a difference. This one's without primer and this one's with primer. It does add a little bit of a brightness to it, doesn't it? Now let me go into the matte shade and see how it'll look with a primer. Okay, so this one's without primer and this one's with primer. So it does kind of enhance the color a little bit. Just for fun, let me try using all shades with the primer. Let's see what happens if I didn't let it dry. So let's go into this ruby red shade and I put that primer here. Okay, I think it makes it a little creamier. I mean, I think it does kind of enhance the color a little bit. So this one's with primer, without. And I also think it depends on the shade. Let me show you the Liquid Luster. So you can see that even though it does enhance it, it kind of changes the color a little bit. Whereas with these, with the eyeshadows, I think it does enhances it. Now let me go into that brown shade. Okay, so it does make it a little bit brighter and enhances it. Now let's look at 128, which has the golden yellow, which looks kind of orangey, and a mossy gray. These do also come with 2 little brushes. One is more of a felt tip and one is a little bit more of a fluffy brush with brushes on both ends. And these palettes do cost $53 and you do get them from Suffrages. And also Harrods and maybe Liberty London too. And sometimes Cult Beauty. But let's go ahead and swatch this one and I'll do the same. One with the primer and one without the primer. So let me try to do it on this side. It's gonna be hard because I am left-handed. Okay, I didn't blend the primer out that much just so I can see it. But let's go ahead and swatch 128. Let's go in with this silver shade. And of course, it's what I'm wearing right now. But let's go without the primer. And let me go ahead and swatch them all without the primer so the primer can dry a little bit. And then this one's a cool tone brown, which you'll see when I applied it. I thought it would look a little dirty, but I think adding the other colors, it worked out. Because I was a little worried that it was going to look a little dirty on my lids. But I think it worked out pretty good. Now let's go into this golden yellow. And let's put you here. And then this deep cool brown. Okay, so here are the swatches of 128 without the primer. So let me go ahead and swatch them with the primer. I'm going with the dark chocolate brown since I already have that on my finger. Yeah, you do have to kind of let it dry down or it's going to be kind of blotchy. Okay, so I swatched them all on the primer and they're not the best because I think I didn't let it dry, especially these two, the matte shades. But you can see that it does kind of enhances the metallic shades. And it is long wearing. So let me go ahead and show you the eye looks that I did. 127 will be set to music, the one with the ruby red and the blue gray. And then I'll be talking with this look, 128. So let's go ahead and get into those looks, and I'll see you on the other side. Let's see what I can do with 128 with that golden yellow and that moss gray. Let me prime my eyes first, since this one does need to dry down. And I believe in the other palette, 127, I used the SUQQU primer on this side and the Fenty Beauty on this side. This time I'm going to switch it. The only reason why is because my eye shapes are different and I apply them different because I am left-handed, so one side may be darker or more pigmented. So I just want to try it that way to see if there's a difference. So again, this side, Fenty Beauty. Now we're going to put SUQQU on this side. So you can see the one by Fenty Beauty, it does have some color to it. It's more pink and it does kind of brighten up the lids, whereas the SUQQU one, it comes off clear. There's no color, which isn't a bad thing. So while the primer's dried down, let me go ahead and swatch the palette so I can see what I'm working with. I'm sure I swatched this in the beginning of the video. Let's go to this beigey shade first, and it is a little bit on the cooler side. Okay, it shows up on my lids. Using the primer, the shade does look a little softer or smoother on my lids. Now let's go into this deep shade, and it's more of a plummy brown. Let's place you in the outer corner. So using my finger, I want to go into this silver shade, and let's just pop you in the center towards the inner corner. Actually, I kind of like this look, just these three shades together. That's pretty. Oh yeah, that's pretty. What do you think? This one does lean more cool tone for sure. Let me just use a little flat shader brush, use that same silver shade so I can get it up there in my crease. Using the other side of this flat shader brush, let me go into this golden yellow, even though it does look a little orangey peachy. And let's put you in the inner corner. That peachy shade, that golden yellow shade, kind of added something different to this look. Okay, not bad. Now I'm going back into this deep shade, just very lightly, just kind of fuse those two shades together. And then going back in with that first shade, very lightly, and just blend everything up there above my crease. So can y'all see a difference with the primers that I used? Again, this one's the Fenty Beauty, and this one is SUQQU. There is some fallout with that silver shade, and maybe a little bit with that golden yellow shade, just a little bit on the side. I'm going to try to use a lot of SUQQU products, but there are some that I just don't have, or I did try and it's not my favorite. And I did try the primer by SUQQU and it's not my favorite. It's kind of a white cream. It just made me look too ashy. So that one's gone. So for primer, I'm going to use this one by Chanel, or the No. 1 de Chanel, the Skin Enhancer, and this is in the shade Medium Coral. I did do a video using these skin enhancers, and I'll link it down below if you want to See all 3 shades in action, but this one's the middle shade. And I like using this buffer brush just to spread it out because it doesn't sink in my pores that way. Now, I do have concealers by SUQQU, and I also use this in the last look, and I have in the shade 12 and 15. So here's 12 and 15. Now I like to use 12 in the inner and outer, and then 15 in the center. And then just blend them together. So in the last look, I used the liquid foundation by SUQQU, but they are coming out with a reformulated cream foundation. So I have the old version, so I want to try this today because it's been a while since I've tried this foundation. I do love the liquid foundation, it's my favorite. But let's go in with the cream foundation. I have in the shade 035 and 040. So this is what 35 looks like, or 035, and here's 040. Let me put them side by side so you can see the difference. So here's 035 and 040. I'm gonna go in with 040 because it's summer and I'm a little darker, so I'm not gonna even mess with 035. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cover it up because it is messy. It does come with a little spatula, so I'm just gonna lightly dip in. And I'm gonna use the foundation brush by SUQQU. I really do like it. It's like a paddle brush, and it spreads it out so easy. Okay, so this is how the cream foundation looks on my skin, 040. It does have a little bit of a radiance to it, and maybe it is a little light still, but it sits very nicely on the skin. It's not sinking in any pores. But let me go ahead and apply it underneath my eyes. Let's go back into this cool shade and into this deep plummy shade. And just place that in the outer corner. And let's just have some fun. Let's go into this orangey shade, or the golden yellow. I'm just gonna place you more in the inner corner. Let me go ahead and finish the eye makeup, and the only thing that I have by SUQQU is the brow gel. I've tried the eyeliner, tried the eye pencil, mascara, not my favorite. But of course I'll link and list everything down below for you guys that I used. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and apply the blush and the lipstick. Now I'm going to apply this blush 142, and you can see it's more of a pinky, rosy, with a touch of beige in here. So let me go in using the Sonia G Face Pro and just get all of them. Oh, and I didn't bronze my cheeks, just my forehead. And I did add a little powder underneath my eyes in my T-zone. And one thing I did forget about this foundation, the cream foundation, is that it doesn't work well when I add powder. It does look a little cakey. So that's probably why I haven't used it that much. I like the liquid foundation, that's beautiful on my skin. The cream foundation, it's pretty, but it's not what I reach for because it does kind of cake up. But let's go ahead and use this blush. That's a pretty pink blush. I thought it'd be a little ashy, but I think it shows up pretty nicely. This is a very pretty pink blush, kind of like a Barbie pink almost, without it looking Barbie in the pan. And yeah, I probably do need to bronze it up, but I wanted y'all to see the color by itself. And then let me just go into this light shade here and just highlight this area. And I've always wanted to try a Barbie pink. I did try the one from Dior. Those blushes, I had to return them because it just looked too ashy on me, too powdery. But this one's not bad. If you're looking for a Barbie pink, very pretty, not looking ashy at all. Now let's go into the one lipstick that I got, the Moisture Rich lipstick. And I got it in the shade 127, and it's a rich burgundy. And I also used the blush and the lipstick in the previous look too. Okay, and here's the finished look. So let me let you know what I think of these products by SUQQU. Let's start with the ones that I do like. The lipstick. Love the lipstick and love the blush. The Moisture Rich lipstick's very comfortable on the skin, has a nice texture, doesn't last as long as, you know, the matte lipstick. But this one does feel hydrating, not drying at all. And I do like this color, this deep burgundy. And the blush, love this color. I was surprised that I do like it because thought it'd be a little ashy, but I do like the shade Barbie Pink. I know the other one, I think it's 126, no, 120, wow, I was way off. It's 143. The beigey blush, I think that one's gonna be very light on me. I don't think you can see the color, but I do like this color. It's very pretty. The eyeshadows, love the color stories of these eyeshadows. I mean, SUQQU knows how to do it. This one, 127 with the ruby red and the blue gray, very pretty. And I know that that look that I did with this one, first thing that came to my mind was the movie Working Girl. I don't know if you've seen that movie with Melanie Griffith. Well, her friend was played by Joan Cusack, and that's how she had her eyeshadow, and that's what kind of reminded me of. You know, back in the 80s, that's how we wore our eyeshadows. And that's what reminded me of them, especially using these two shades. I think these two shades used separately will be very pretty, but together it's very rich, very dramatic, very 80s. And I would like to try this blue-gray shade by itself. I think it's gonna be very pretty. And then this look with 128, I think it's very pretty too. I thought it'd be, you know, too dirty, too much coolness on my lids, but I think it works out pretty nicely. And I do like adding that orange shade or the golden yellow shade in the inner corner. It just kind of brings a different look to it, a different vibe. But yeah, SUQQU knows how to do their color stories. And the formula is great. They blend out beautifully, look smoothing on the lids, doesn't show much texture, and the metallics has that wow factor, does have some fallout, so always keep that in mind. But the metallics do have that shine to it. Now the liquid luster eyes, not my favorite, not my favorite, no. It creased up within an hour with or without primer. And yeah, I just not happy with this one. So I will not be picking any more shades with this formula, the liquid luster eyes. Kind of reminds me of the touch tone eyes, the single shadows, the cream shadows that they came out with. I think it was the summer, the one with the sunflower collection. I had to throw those away. Those also creased up on me. The shades were pretty, but I know I'm not gonna use them and it's a cream formula, so I just went ahead and throw those away because those creased up, melted off. Very similar to this one. Now for the eye primer. It's not that bad actually. I do need to try it with other shadows besides SUQQU, but I think it's holding its own. I don't know if you can tell the difference if one side is more brilliant. Again, this is the side that I use a SUQQU and this one's Fenty Beauty. But honestly, really can't tell much of a difference. Maybe this one just has a slight edge, a little bit more deeper, and it does dry down clear. There's no color to it because I do like that it dries clear. You do have to kind of sit there and let it dry for a bit, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So pretty much in this collection, the liquid luster eyes, not my favorite. I wouldn't recommend that. Would recommend the eyeshadows, the blushes, the lipstick, and maybe this primer. Still need to try it out with other shadows, but so far it's looking good. It's holding on. But anywho, I sure hope that you enjoyed this video of me trying the SUQQU Autumn Winter Collection for 2023. If you liked it and enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.